And you hosted.
I mean, I loved it. I hosted.
You
Guys,
hosted so many
I should be
parties.
an event planner or something. I love a good party. I love a good social outing.
Hi, and welcome back to Good Vibes FC. I'm not Sam Mewis.
I'm Sam Mewis, coming to you from the Women's Game World Headquarters in Vermont.
And I'm Becky Sauerbrunn, coming to you from Portland, Oregon.
Good Vibes FC is presented by our great friends over at Olipop. Use code TWG20 for 20% off at drinkolipop.com. Today on the podcast, we're breaking down the U.S. Women's National Team roster for the upcoming SheBelieves Cup. Then we're chatting with our good friend, Crystal Dunn, about her retirement. And finally, we've got the best email of all time from Delphina to share with all of you. But first, Becky, I have missed you so much. How is everything?
I know. I feel like we haven't really got to chat that much these last few weeks. I know you're going heavy with Lynn because she's going to be on maternity leave soon. But yeah, it's been a little lonely over here.
I know. We're giving Lynn the front load, the old maternity front load, if you will. But we're starting to rotate you back in. I know that you are getting ready to get on the road, though, because you're doing broadcasting for SheBelieves. So I want to hear all about that.
Yeah, it's happening. I guess my maternity leave is officially ending. I leave Friday to go to Nashville, and I'm partially dreading it because I don't know how I'm going to be away from Ronan because I haven't spent more than 4 hours away from him at any point since he has been on this earth. And all of a sudden I'm throwing myself into a 9-day trip. So
Oh my God.
I'm not really sure how that's going to go. And then there's another part of me that is excited to kind of exercise a different part of my brain.
Yeah.
Maybe even get to like read a book again or watch a show or like have adult time, like, so I'm kind of two minds, but like both those things can exist at the same time, as Lynn always says. And so I'm just going to throw myself into it and try to be present. And I know that he's going to be taken care of back here at home. And so I will tell you one thing, getting my breast milk shipped back to Portland is like a whole thing. Like, luckily there are companies that do that for you. Like, they specialize in it, but it is like, logistically, it is difficult.
I know. I've actually heard a little bit about that. I don't know why. But yeah, that sounds like a crazy endeavor.
It is, because it has to be frozen. And so all your hotels that you go to have to have a freezer available, and some rooms just have a refrigerator. And so then you have to use the hotel's freezer. So you have to fill out forms and go to the front desk. So it's
you're
you're
going to 3 different hotels.
3 different hotels. I'm going to be pumping at like 3:00 in the morning and just like hopping on down to the lobby and being like, hey, can you put this in your industrial freezer for me? Thanks. So yeah, it'll be interesting. Like I said, I'm just going to throw myself into it and just figure it out and give myself a lot of grace.
Yeah, well, good. I mean, I was going to like give you advice. 1, I don't know what to say. And 2, you don't need any advice from me because you have the best attitude about it all already. I do want to know, like, logistically, like what else you had to think about.
Well, logistically, a lot of it's like what is happening back here at home, because I've got help during the weekdays. But then Zola comes back from work about an hour and a half after our caregiver leaves. And so like what happens during that gap time? What is he going to do on the weekends? Because that's like you're full in for 2 straight days with like no break. Like that'll be really tough. And so is there a way that we can bring somebody in to kind of give him a couple hours just to eat and shower and work out and watch a show? And so just kind of trying to find like, will his mom come in? Can we get somebody to come in on the weekend for a few hours? And so I think what I've learned most about having Ronan is like, you really have to be on top of logistics. And I think you spoke about that with Christy, that so much of like planning is logistics and like how to take care of him. And do you have everything that you need? The diaper bag? Do you need formula, bottles, wipes, everything? Like there's just checklist on checklist on checklists.
Yeah. And Christy's amazing too. Christy will just have these things in her head. Like, well, his nap time was here and his bottle is due here. And at this time, we're going to be doing this. And then I'm going to need this. Yes. And I'm just like, cool. She doesn't even write it down. She's just got it on lock.
I know. It's kind of amazing, right?
Yeah, it's like really amazing. And I think it's like, it's just a world that I have not really delved into. So like every time I see it, I'm just like, wow, like this is incredible. You guys are amazing.
Well, thanks. I mean, it's kind of wild to think back, and like so much of what I've learned over the last 4.5 months. And it's crazy because like the capacity to love has grown so much, but also like my capacity just to figure things out has just increased as well.
I love that. Like you're just like, I'm resourceful and I'm going to sort it out.
Yeah. Like I am woman, hear me roar. I can do this.
Wow. That's really cool. I actually love that. Well, what I can offer you, Reba, I do not have a baby, so I watch a lot of TV and I've actually been reading some books. So do you want a recommendation for anything?
Yeah, give me a recommendation. I want a book rec and then I want a show rec as well if you've been watching any good shows.
All right. Well, have I been watching any good shows? If you've been listening to this show, you know that I am deep into Summer House.
Oh, I am caught up to Summer House. That was my like when I get to work out, that's on in the background.
Okay, love that. I'm all caught up on Summer House too. Can't wait for Wednesday night. Are you watching Traitors? Have we already talked about this?
I've tried the first 3 episodes of the first season and it's not hitting with me quite yet.
Fair. I actually haven't watched the first season. I've only watched seasons 3 and 4. And I agree that the first episode, and I know you said you watched 3, the first episode, I was like, what is this? This is so weird. And like, why are we doing this? I love it so much now and I'm like so invested in it. But like fiction shows, like acting, I'm also trying to think. I'm caught up on Bridgerton.
I heard this new season's kind of good.
It's good. It's good. There's only 4 episodes out, but I think there's more dropping, like maybe just in time for your trip. So I also have been reading. Well, I just picked up 2 new books that I'm like, am I going to be a smart person now? I picked up Vigil by George Saunders.
Okay.
And The Correspondent, which is what everybody's been talking about.
I'm like under a rock, so I will check out those titles.
Okay. Well, I haven't read either of them yet. They are lofty pursuits. I did just finish Half His Age by Jeanette McCurdy, which was really good.
Okay. I did pick up Project Hail Mary, which is an Andy Weir sci-fi, because I had liked his other books. So I have that ready to go for this trip because I might actually get to read.
Oh my gosh, amazing. Well, we did Becky's Book Corner and Under a Rock right here at the beginning of the show, everybody. You're
Knock
welcome.
it out.
Okay, well, I guess we should get into the U.S. Women's National Team roster. Lynn and I talked about this briefly last week, but She Believes is starting on Sunday. The U.S. Women's National Team is going to be playing against Argentina, Colombia, and Canada. So today, Reba, I want to just break down the roster in a little bit more detail. When you first saw this, what was your initial reaction?
I think it's a changing of the tone. I think it's the first camp, I think within a year, where there are no uncapped players. And I saw on the press release that the average cap is now 30.4, which is a huge difference from what it was heading into that Paraguay match earlier this year, which is only 6.6.
Oh, wow.
That's a huge difference. So 30.4 going into this, 6.6 games. I mean, you think about what you can learn over the course of 24 games, like that's crazy experience. And so it just goes to show what Emma's been saying. She was going to start funneling down that player pool, really focusing in on a certain group of players. And yeah, she's always been very true to her word. And that's what I saw when I looked at the roster.
Yeah. I mean, and you're pointing out, what you're pointing out, that big jump in experience level isn't just that there are, for the first time in a long time, no uncapped players in this camp, but it's also that return of the European-based players and then the Gotham players who were not in January camp. So we've got this kind of return of a lot of the regulars, like the core players, which we're actually about to get into. I do just want to mention a few players who aren't in camp. Kat Macario is out injured with a reported heel injury. And then Sophia Wilson and Mal Swanson are both still coming back from maternity leave. I'm going to throw Lynn in this list too. Lynn is obviously currently pregnant. Emma said if Kat Macario and Sophia Wilson were fit for selection, they would have been selected as the 9s, but that means we're going to have to keep developing this area. So this is actually a question that I have for you, Becky, because Lynn mentioned it a little bit last week, just briefly. Without Kat and Soph, who do you think we're looking at for this 9 position this camp? And what are you really looking for from these players who are kind of trying out as the 9?
I think you're looking at Jamise Joseph, Maddie Deline, Ellie Sentnor. I would be a little surprised if you saw like an Alyssa Thompson there, but I wouldn't, it could happen. Maybe you put Emma Sears there just to kind of change it up, even though she's great on the wing. But I really think that there is kind of an embarrassment of riches when it comes to that front line. And if you look at that 9 position, I think of those 3 players that I just mentioned as auditioning for the depth role in that. And so if you're going into She Believes and you kind of know that it's going to be really hard to break into a starting role on this team, how can I, within the framework of the game plan, really show what I've got? And you look at a Jamise and a Maddie, which I think both are very good 1v1. I think they're good stretching the line. I think they open up space for other people. I want to see them be able to do that against these teams because we are playing quality teams. And so it's a good chance to be able to work on that. And then you look at an Ellie Sentinor who I think a little bit more like a Kat Macario, where she's like going to come back towards the ball. She's going to hang out in some pockets. She's going to be a little bit more of a link up player, but also someone who's very deadly in front of the goal. And so I'm just really looking forward to seeing what make these players special and if they can do it on this stage.
Yeah, totally. It honestly like makes me nervous thinking about it because it is like, especially having some big name players not in this camp, it like is big, bold capital letters, big opportunity. Like take advantage of this opportunity, like play well in this camp. And this could be like your first step towards making the roster. But it just like kind of gives me butterflies because it feels like so on its face, like you have to do good. And it's like scary.
But yeah, I mean, you kind of have to. And that's, we've talked about it before, but you either perform in those situations or you struggle in those situations. And that's the difference between making a roster or not making a roster. Ugh. So I know it is pressure, but it's like,
yeah,
how do you function
but you're
within
so
that
right.
pressure?
And it's like, it's a signal of how you'll perform under pressure at the World Cup. So like, you kind of have to prove that you can do it.
Exactly.
There are a few other players missing from this camp. They're potentially either, out injured or maybe just not invited to camp because they could be on a minutes restriction. I couldn't confirm everything for sure, but Avery Patterson is not coming into camp, though she played for Houston Dash at the Coachella tournament. So I'm surprised to not see her called in. Then Emily Sams, who did not play for Angel City at the Coachella tournament. Croy Bethune, who Emma said missed some trainings due to her transfer to Kansas City. Michelle Cooper is still coming back from injury, as is Tierna Davidson, but I'm hopeful to see them both back soon. And then we've got Hal Hirschfeld, Yasmin Ryan, and Izzy Rodriguez, also not included in this roster. Becky, do you look at this roster and kind of see one position and think that, oh my gosh, that would be so hard to break into?
I think anything across the front line is going to be so difficult. If you have everyone back healthy, back from maternity leave, everything, that is an insane amount of quality players in that front line. And I am just kind of like, if you're new to the scene, like you are going to have to do something extraordinary if you get a chance with the national team, but also with your professional team to really show that you can compete and potentially steal minutes away from this other group of players.
I know. I agree. It is crazy. It's going to be crazy competitive. So I think what we can start to do to like break down this roster development is look at this information that Emma Hayes has given us in terms of like grouping players into what she's calling buckets. Emma Hayes in a press conference like earlier this year, or maybe it was late last year, she kind of like explained the way the coaching staff thinks about putting a roster together. They like put all these names up on a board, and then you have these players and they get put into groups. There's core players, pool players, prospects, high potential, U23, and then game plan specific players, which I'm actually really excited to talk about. But I want to start with the first bucket. That's core players. These are players who are consistently in the team. If they're fit, they're coming into camp. I think the players like this are Rose Lavelle, Lindsay Heaps, Emily Sonnet, Naomi Girma, triple espresso types. They're the core of this team that you can kind of rely on to come into camp as long as they're fit and available. Is there anybody I missed that you would add to this bucket?
Yes, I think you throw in Emily Fox. I think she's established herself ever since 2024, what she's done with the national team, what she's done with Arsenal. I think she's kind of a lock-in for that right back. Sam Coffey as the six, I think she has been very consistent through all her performances. And I think that's what you really want out of that six. And I think the way Emma talks about Sam is someone that she sees a lot of potential in as like a leader and the future of this team. So I think she's going to be around. And then Tierna, I think will also, if when she's ready to come back, Tierna Davidson, I think will also be in that center back position with Naomi and Emily. And so I think those three are pretty I feel pretty good about saying they're core players.
I completely agree. I completely agree with you. I think that there's maybe this next group of players, and I don't know how to distinguish them between core and the next group, which is pool, but they're players who are consistently called in. They're maybe younger than that first group that we said, but they're, to me, if they continue to perform well, they feel pretty cemented to me. These are players like Jaden Shaw, Claire Hutton, Lily Real, Lily Johannes, Alyssa Thompson, Olivia Moultrie. Like, I see them as, not necessarily, they're not cemented names, mature names like Rose Lavelle and Naomi Gurma yet, but they could be. And so I want to put them in core, but I don't know if that's almost like just too many names in core. So I was curious your reaction to that.
I kind of think of the core group probably being smaller. So 6 to 8 players that when it comes to World Cup time, you can pretty much just guarantee they're going to be on the roster, even if they're carrying a little bit of an injury or whatever happens. But so I think those players that you listed, probably it can be a part of that bigger pool number.
Okay. Well, so then let's get into pool a little bit. These are players Emma's defined as they're in the conversation. They've been into at least 3 camps and they have at least 1 cap. So it could be, most players on this roster. I'm thinking somebody like Tara Rudd or Emma Sears or even Allie Sentnor, who weirdly, didn't get called into that camp and went in with the U23s and kind of showed that she's kind of on the bubble in Emma's mind. It could even be like younger players who aren't called in as consistently, somebody like Giselle Thompson, somebody who's definitely on the radar, but now is kind of where we're getting into like the in-between groups of like, there's this group that's kind of in between core and pool, and then there's this group that's maybe in between pool and prospect.
Yeah, we might need a Venn diagram.
A Venn diagram, a gray area, if you will. The whole thing is super gray, by the way, but it is helpful to try to, in your own mind, categorize and figure out like who fits into which bucket.
For sure. And I will say that the pool players, what will be very important for them is that they need to perform very well on their professional teams. And then when they get chances with the national team, also perform very well there. So I think like the timing of the World Cup and qualifiers and their form really need to meet at the same time.
Which is so interesting. Like, I reflect back on my journey with the national team in the lead up to 2019, where I started and had a good tournament. A year before, I was like literally fighting for my life. Like, I was coming back from injury. I didn't dress for a few games. I was so convinced that I was about to not get called in and that I wasn't even going to make the qualifying roster. Somebody got injured and I went. And then over the course of the next 6, 7, 8 months, I like earned a starting spot at the last minute, which was like crazy. And I think I was like a pool player who was not in favor and, had been injured at an inconvenient time. And I like really worked my way into the starting 11. And so you're so right to say that like it's not a ton of time, but it's like enough time for things to change.
Absolutely. And it can go change for the better. It can change for the worse. People that are played in now might not be played in a few months and vice versa.
Yeah, you definitely want to like peak at the right time for sure.
Exactly.
So we've gone through core and pool. The next 2 buckets are prospects. That's a player that's being monitored and considered. And then there's high potential. That's a young player who has potential but isn't necessarily ready to be playing in a World Cup. I think there's probably some crossover here. I mentioned that there were a lot of new players in this past January camp because a lot of the regulars weren't available. They either were playing in Europe or playing in the FIFA Champions Cup with Gotham. And so it wasn't a FIFA window. So we got to see a lot of different players. I feel like there are players in that group who probably won't come back in when everybody is healthy and everybody is available, but they're clearly on Emma's radar for the future. Some of them are on the She Believes roster. Maddie Darlene and Jordan Bug, I think, are clearly like prospects. Like, Emma's looking at them and evaluating them and wants to see if they're ready to be on the team now. But they could also be players who aren't here. Raylan Turner and Sam Meza, they've, been on the radar. Sam Meza's played a few times. Raylan Turner scored a goal in January. They could for sure have a bright future with this team. But there are other factors beyond just their performance that will determine if they're like going to make the roster next year.
Yeah. And I think you can throw in a name like Kennedy Wesley as well.
Yeah.
And when I'm with the broadcast crew, we get time with Emma, and she's been very clear that she is also very much looking to LA 28 to the World Cup in 31. And so she says it would be a dereliction of her duty as the lead of the women's side if she weren't looking towards the future and is concerned about just winning now.
Oh, wow. Oh my gosh, you get like such a good inside scoop on the broadcast team. I'm like so excited for you to go and get the scoop and bring it back to us.
Oh my gosh, I know.
Okay, the next bucket is U23 pool players. Emma has said that the staff is always going to be pulling young players through the U23 program, that they're not going to like go outside of that. So if a young player is kind of coming up, she'll like go in with the 23s first. And then we have Ayo Oke, who debuted with the US Women's National Team in January. She's with the 23s right now. I feel like she was a perfect example of somebody who's will be pulled up eventually. Right now she's with the 23s, and that's kind of how the program is going to work a player like her up into the full team. And then the last category, this one is so interesting, Becky, is game plan specific player. Emma described this player as an older player with experience. The staff like knows them and knows what they can bring, but they might not be a regular. And so I'm like, hang on, this is like fascinating. Like, I want to talk more about this. I've been thinking a lot about game plan specific players, and I feel like a good example I thought of was Jess McDonald, who came to the World Cup with us in 2019, obviously because she was a prolific goal scorer, but she also had this like special quality with a long throw in and a big aerial presence. And I was always thinking like, certainly Jess was good enough to play, and she did play in that World Cup, but what a weapon and what an incredible option to have to pull her off the bench if we were down a goal and needed to just launch throw-ins in or have her even trying to head the ball in the box. So now I'm thinking about this huge now pool of players available to us throughout the whole NWSL, throughout any American player playing anywhere, who could kind of be that game plan specific player. Like, what's Emma looking for with that?
Oh man, I mean, it can go both ways. You can have an attacking presence, you could have a really strong defensive presence. Like I think in most cases you're going to err on the side of bringing an attacking presence if you're like really chasing down a game and you need a goal. And
Yeah.
I'm thinking of like the forwards that I've played against through the years that just always seem to find a way to be in the right place at the right time, and it's super annoying.
I can't wait to hear who you're going to say.
You think you have them, and then
Super
like
annoying.
you look somewhere else and like they're scoring a goal on you and you're just like, I just had you. And I think of like an Ashley Hatch because she can get in there. She's aggressive, so she can win balls back from people. She kind of stirs things up a little bit.
Yeah.
Like she's got a presence about her on the field. And so, yeah, I was thinking kind of like an Ashley Hatch.
Okay, I like love that. I think that's a really, really good one. I also, and this could be totally out of left field. Everybody who's listening, please let me know if this is way off base. I keep thinking about Kate Wiesner's set piece ability, and I'm wondering if she's kind of being thought of as somebody who has that special skill, like to really whip in a corner kick or a free kick or to shoot a free kick. So she's kind of on my radar for this category. Could be wrong. What do I know? As we've gone through all of these, though, the one position we haven't talked about at all has been goalkeeper. And I'm like, I feel like we have such little data on the goalkeepers with the U.S. Women's National Team right now. Obviously, we have Claudia Dickey, Fallon Tullis-Joyce, and Mandy McGlynn coming into this camp. But where do you think they fall? Like, is one of them core and one of them pool, or do we not know yet?
I don't really know because it's so different giving goalkeepers time and preparing them because
I know
there's only one goalkeeper on the field. And so it's kind of like, do you then divide up the game so that you get to see everybody, or do you feel like you need to start investing in one? And I would say like Fallon had been injured this last camp. So would she have gotten the minutes that Claudia Dickey and Mandy McGlynn got? I know Emma was really high on Fallon last year, especially she had a really breakout performance in one of the camps, and it was really impressive. I think she was like, everyone was talking about Fallon, and she's been doing great with Manchester United. So it's tough. I would say that she's maybe the number one, but then you just hear Emma talk about Claudia Dickey and Mandy McGlynn so highly, and so I think she's got some tough decisions to make.
I know. I did just recently see her. I pulled up an old press conference and I heard her speak really highly about Mandy McGlynn and kind of about how she's come into her own recently. So So I think that one is still competitive. Like I just don't think we really have enough information yet. We did just recently interview Claudia Dickey, and that was so much fun. I really recommend that interview. And Fallon Tullis Joyce is also like becoming one of my favorite people to follow. We have an interview with her on our YouTube channel as well. So if you want a little more information on some goalkeepers, you can definitely go check out our interviews with them. I feel like as we're talking about all of this, it's a good way to start to think about qualifying, which is coming up at the end of this year in November and December. That's where CONCACAF will determine the teams that will go to the World Cup in 2027. Between now and then, the U.S. women's national team has these She Believes games. The April games are 3 games against Japan. Then there's a camp in early June and a camp in October. That's it.
That feels like a little. That does not feel like a lot.
It feels like a little. I totally agree.
Yeah, I'm remembering back. You remember when Dawn Scott? She was our sport performance scientist coach. She would put up these slides, and it would basically be a countdown to the next major thing, which in this case would be qualifiers. And it would be like this many days till qualifiers, but this many days together, this many trainings together, this many games, and you were just like, this is not a lot of time at all.
No.
And I don't know about you, but I think qualifiers gave me more anxiety sometimes than the actual like big tournament, like the World Cup or the Olympics, because if you don't qualify,
then it's just over.
Then it's just over. And that's just bad. And in 2011, when we were qualifying for the World Cup in Germany, we didn't outright qualify. We actually had to do a playoff against Italy, home and away. And I will tell you, that's probably the most stressed I've ever been in my career. And I wasn't even playing on the field. I mean, I was a pool player, like number 23, 24, 25. Like I was lucky to be on those rosters. And I remember sitting in Italy in the stands watching and being like,
what if we lose?
What if we lose? We might not go to a World Cup, like for the first time ever. I might be part of the team that doesn't make it. Like, is it me? Am I a curse? Like, so.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So it feels like a little to me, but I have a lot of faith in this group, and
yeah,
they're going to ball out at qualifiers.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. That sounds so traumatizing. Obviously, I don't think we think that that's going to happen, but it is so scary. Like one of the games at qualifying is always like, we could lose. And like, imagine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Talking about these buckets, like I do feel like it's like a lot to be like putting people's names on lists and into buckets. And like, I do think that's like a bit like aggressive, but I did this, Becky, to myself. Every time a roster was coming up, I would sit in my hotel room on a hotel notepad with Lynn or Rose or Sonnet or my sister, and I would write goalkeepers, defenders, midfielders, forwards, and I would list out everybody's name, and I would figure out who the last people in those. Oftentimes it was me who was like on the bubble of making it or not, and me and Sonnet would argue back and forth. Well, you're going to make it, but then she has to get cut, and then, well, what am I going to do, and what's she going to do? We would write little question marks next to people's names. And then by the end of the camp, we would have basically like determined who we thought the roster was going to be. We were pretty much always right. But the most stressful part about it is like, you kind of know the positional breakdown. Did you ever do this? Like, did you ever make these lists? First of all, before I keep rambling.
I did a little bit early on because like I said, I was one of those like extreme bubble players, and I couldn't do it with anyone on the team really. Cause I mean, like I was with Pino and Alex Morgan, and like they were making the team, you know, like it was not a question. It would have not been a fun exercise for them. So sometimes Zola and I would actually, I like get back from camp and I would give them like the lowdown about like how I did and how I thought other people did and where they stacked up. And we would kind of like do it together.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, really cute. Mine explicitly, like it had to be on the hotel notepad, and then we would like rip it up and flush it down the toilet. But basically for a World Cup roster, if it's 23, you know it's going to be 3 goalkeepers, 7 or 8 defenders, 6 midfielders, and then 6 or 7 forwards, depending where you always think you're going to sub the forwards more. So maybe you bring the extra one there, but imagine losing a center back to injury, God forbid. What would you do? So this bucket conversation is really bringing me back into it. It's super stressful. I do just want to say to the players who are in these bubble positions, who are, dreaming of making the roster, it is so hard and it will be so worth it when you do it. And I also think it's like, it's a weird position to be in the media now and like saying names and throwing them out there publicly, because like I knew how that felt as a player. So I guess I just wanted to like acknowledge that and just say, I know it's so hard and I just like wish everybody luck.
Would you give any piece of advice to those players?
Beyond what you said of just like, you just have to like do well. I mean, it is, you have to, again, like I felt like I was trying to give my best performance at meals, on the bus. Like you just have to be on all the time. And it is so exhausting, but like the more you can show that you can handle it, and like every shot you take in warmups counts, like every touch in training counts. And like the more competitive you can be, the better you'll make your teammates, and like the more you'll show that you belong there. But I don't even really know if that's clear advice.
No, I think
just don't
that
panic.
you don't take any reps off, 1,000%. And I think when all things are even, if you're even with another player, are you a good teammate? Like, are you showing
who do you want around?
People? Yeah, who do you want around when ish hits the fan? Like that will give you an edge as well. So like, also be a good person.
Yeah, I mean, advice from the best person and teammate any of us have ever had, Becky Sauerbrunn herself.
Sam Ewis.
All right, everybody, we need to take one quick break, but when we come back, we have Crystal Dunn, another amazing teammate in person, joining us to talk about her recent retirement announcement, so don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everybody. We are joined now by Crystal Dunn, World Cup champion, Olympic gold medalist, 3-time NWSL Shield winner, 3-time NWSL champion, our good friend, and Marcel's mom. Crystal, welcome to Good Vibes. How are you doing?
Hi, everybody. I'm doing great. I'm so excited to hang out with you guys.
I feel like you have just been on like a whirlwind of fun things. I check out your social media. I'm like, where is she now? Like, what have you been up to?
I'm like having a time. Like, I don't know how or why, but like, yeah, I was traveling a bit. I caught up with my college friends that I haven't seen in like 4 years. And so like, basically I'm in this group chat. They're like, hey, let's get together. And I'm always like, I can't, I have practice. Like I cannot, And then finally I was like, guys, I can make the trip. Everyone was like, yeah, this is awesome. So I was in Park City. I went into the mountains. Don't ask me why, because Jersey right now is under snow. I could have hung out in the snow here. But it was a great time. I went to London just now. I got back. I saw Naomi. I was like, oh my God, my girl. But it was great. Yeah, I've been kind of bopping around and just hanging out with some people I haven't seen in a long time.
Oh, Crystal, one of the perks of retirement, which I know that you wrote this beautiful retirement announcement. We all got to read that on social media a few weeks ago. But I feel like I just wanted to ask you off the cuff, casual, as a friend, can you just walk us through your journey to making that decision? I was surprised to hear, just because you're still such an incredible player, but it obviously sounds like what's best for you. So can you just tell us in your own words the journey you've taken to decide to retire?
Oh my gosh. Well, okay. So, the decision was simple and complex. I mean, you guys know, it's like at some point you're like, I'm at peace, but it is a really hard decision, So it's like you want to make sure you have thought everything through. You're like, am I making the right decision? And, for me, the simple part was I miss my son. It got harder to kind of be away from him. It got harder to justify being away from him. I was like, yeah, I play soccer, but like my son has his own little soccer practice that I'm like missing, and I like kind of want to be there, And there was like little moments that kept kind of making me realize like, oh, I'm kind of wishing I was somewhere else, And, that was the simple part. I was like, oh, I'm a mom. I get to, time away got harder and harder. So that was, why on the simple end. But the complex reason was, I just felt like the day to day got harder. It got harder to kind of prep your body and get ready to go and push your body past its limits and then wake up and do it all over again. I think there's parts of the lifestyle that when you're younger, you're kind of like, this is so great. Bus trips, plane rides, all these things. And then there was definitely a part of me that was like, ooh, a trip without my family? I kind of wish, I had my, people around me. And I adore the locker room. I think that's like the biggest part that I'm obviously going to miss. You're never going to like be in a locker room again. You guys know, we all vibed in locker rooms. So you guys know that feeling of, you're not going to get that back. But I think what just got harder was really that, professional lifestyle that I was like, oh man, like it's just harder to wake up every day and feel motivated to do it. I did it at a time too, announcing retirement, where I feel like I'm really excited for all the soccer that's on the horizon right now. You have the men's World Cup here a couple months down the road. You have the women's World Cup next year. And I'm like, what a time to do it, when now I get to step in and kind of impact the game from a different perspective and not feel like I have to kind of like wait and look and see what's going on. It's like there's so much soccer right now in front of us. And I look forward to this next chapter. And yeah, I'm just really excited and at peace. That's the biggest thing, is like I'm so at peace. Like I've done just about everything in the sport. I've lived so many lives. I was a forward and a midfielder in club. I was a defender on the national team. I played in World Cups. I played in Olympics. I did the comeback of coming, back from pregnancy. It's like, that's the best part of, retirement, is that reflection point where you're like, oh my gosh, I did enough. Like I did enough. Like I'm good. I can, take a chill pill and just, enjoy kind of celebrating myself and things that you don't really get to do that much when you're in the thick of it. Cause I mean, you guys all know it's like you're chasing that very next thing. And for the first time, I'm like, oh, I'm not really chasing too much right now. I'm just chasing Marcel around the house, and that's really about it. And like, I feel really good about that.
I mean, if I could wish one thing for any of us with retirement, or anyone that retires, is like that sense of peace and being content with the decision and being excited for what's to come. So I love hearing that you are at peace with your decision. I think that's really, really beautiful. I have to, I mean, I was a little surprised when I saw your retirement announcement, and I have to imagine you took a lot of people by surprise, because you are still in your early 30s. You're still bopping on the field like you are a damn good soccer player. I have to imagine, were you just inundated with so many messages from people, but being like, what are you doing? Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I mean, in all the best ways, yes. Receiving a lot of messages and a lot of love and support was a really great part of it. To your point, I'm happy people think like, oh my gosh, like this is kind of a surprise. I'm like, yes,
Yeah,
okay,
got
like,
great.
I know, right? Got him. But I think it was like Croy actually who said something really funny. She was like, man, I know Crystal's an OG, but like, she still got it. Like, and I was like, oh, Croy, thank you, my girl. And like I said, it's like, I mean, you guys know the preparation going into a major World Cup year, like it takes a lot out of you. Like the little details matter. The little things that you're doing, you have to know, like you got to do it to your fullest, because it's not about today. It's about down the road. And I think, I'm a competitor and I love to be, chase trophies and things like that. And it's like, there was a moment where I was like, oh, I can't give what I know I need to give in order to like be at my best and be the best I can be for that big moment, And I think the longer I sat with it, the more I was kind of like, oh, I don't want to wait also too late, Imagine kind of getting to the end of this year and you're like, oh, actually, like, this is the time I kind of want to step away. It's like with 6 months left, it's kind of like that feels also like really close. And I think I always kind of had in my mind that I want to do what's best for me, obviously. But I think I've had amazing conversations with, Emma, and basically just letting her know, like, this is just where I'm at. And I feel so at peace. And I'm hoping that she also understands, like, I try, for me, it's like I tried to do it almost early enough where it's like, I want her to also have all the pieces she needs to prepare this team, And like I said, I feel really good with the timing of it. And now I get to kind of use this year to, celebrate soccer and step into some things that, allow me to really support the sport from such a different perspective.
Well, I'm so excited to hear what some of those things are as we think about the future, Crystal. But first, I want to actually go all the way back, and I want to do like a little mini fast forward version of your career. You grew up playing on Long Island. What's your first memory of recognizing that you loved the game of soccer?
Okay, one of my earliest memories of playing the sport, I played on the Golden Tigers.
Go Tigers!
And
sick name.
I know Golden Tigers. Everyone remembers that like random small team you played on. You're like, okay. I scored a bunch of goals, and like my coach took me out. I was like probably like 5, 6-ish, and my mom had to explain to me like, it's okay, like you're doing a really great job, like everyone else just like needs time, like you're doing your job and it's great, like. And I just remember being so sad. I was like, what did I do? Like, they took me off the field. And yeah, like that was kind of one of the moments where I was like, oh, I'm really having so much fun that like I'm getting so upset of like not being able to play. Like I'm getting taken off the field. Why? But I will say for me, my soccer journey and my love for the game was always really fueled by not even knowing what the future held. Like I wasn't actually the player that was like, I'm going to go pro or even like, I'm going to go play in college. Like, I think I was just like, this is fun for right now. I'm pretty good at it. Let's see where it takes me, you know? And then every stage I kind of made it to, I was like, oh, I'm still here. Like, this is kind of cool. Like, let's keep going. I mean, Sam, like you and I were in college when, what was it? What WPS folded? It was like right before I was graduating.
Yes, exactly. And then I remember my high school coach being like, oh, I don't know what you're going to be able to do now. This league just folded. Like, I'm worried about you and your sister. And I was like, I have no idea. Like, I'm going to go to college and worry about it later. But it was like a precarious time to not have a league.
Yeah, no, definitely. I remember, I think it was like maybe my sophomore, junior year in college. And I was like, okay, well, I'm in college. I guess I'll just like continue on this route and see, you know, what happens. But luckily, I think when I graduated, the NWSL was starting its second year. So like it already had kind of like taken shape. And I was like, all right, we're still here, guys. Like, remember those days of the NWSL where you were like, is there going to be a league next year? Let's see.
I mean, you definitely played with a bunch of the youth national teams. And so you were kind of like a baby of the program. You got your first call up in 2013. And Crystal, I think one of the most impressive things about your journey was you not making that 2015 World Cup roster, but then using it, and what you did with the Spirit was like unbelievable. I think you were the Golden Boot and the MVP that year. You scored so many goals, and it was like, you left me off this roster. I could have helped and been on that roster. Like, I am the future of this team. And I think that statement from you was just so impressive to see a player bounce back like that. Like, you did more than bounce back. You were like, I'm back. And so I just like, I think about that constantly because I think the players' journeys are all so very different. And I don't think we really appreciate how hard it is sometimes when players get left off rosters or they're injured and they have to make their way back. And you did that from really early on in your career, and you kind of just showed everyone what's possible. And I'm wondering, like, do you realize like how baller that was? Like, that was really impressive.
Oh man, of course, I think about that moment like quite often in my life, maybe almost unhealthily now because I'm like, I should stop thinking about being cut from that roster. But I think to your point, it was such a pivotal moment in my career. I think I definitely use that moment as fuel to kind of just reinvest in myself. You know, I think we've all, you know, we're part of this sport where hard decisions are made and you don't always get to play, you don't always get picked. And it's really about using that moment to just say, all right, like this does suck. And I believe I can impact this environment and provide value. But if this person doesn't really see it or believe in it right now, like it's okay. Like I'm going to see it in myself, you know? And yeah, I went into the league that year. I was playing the 9, which is like so ridiculous to think about. But, you know, I really went in that year being like, all right, my new reality is this. My team needs me. You know, I would have obviously loved to be at the World Cup and be with that squad. But I was like, all right, this team right now needs the best version of Crystal Dunn. And that's what I was, you know, more than willing to provide and execute every day. And it wasn't this like smoothie, easy route. I didn't score for like the first couple of games. And I was like, uh-oh, hopefully the coach didn't think about making a different decision. But for me, it was just like, yeah, staying the course and knowing that I was in my like second year in the NWSL. Like I was still quite young and there was so much growth and learning and accountability on my end to just keep trying to get better and push myself.
It's such an incredible story. And I think that for anybody listening who has been left off a roster, you know, in the future, there will be a great player left off the World Cup roster next year. And I think to listen to your story and to see the journey that you went on from there could be inspiring to anybody. You also later appeared in Champions League with Chelsea. You won 3 Shields with the Courage and the Thorns. You won NWSL championships with both of those teams. With the national team, you became a gold medal winning Olympian, a World Cup winner. In the middle of all of that, you had your son, Marcel, and you returned to play some crazy number of maybe like 4 months later, and you scored this incredible goal for Portland in the playoffs that like we all still talk about. There's really nothing that you didn't accomplish, Crystal. Hearing all of that back, is there any one trophy or accomplishment or thing that you did that stands out to you above everything else?
I think each achievement almost was like a stepping stone, because I think there were so many lessons learned. And when you did hoist that trophy in the end, or you did have a medal around your neck, you were kind of like, okay, man, I thought about all the sacrifices you made to get yourself to that moment. And I do believe winning an Olympic gold medal was kind of like the icing on the cake of my career. It was my third Olympic Games, and I think, Rio, it was my first one, wasn't amazing. Tokyo had its challenges. Obviously, with no fans, it was like already so many challenges ahead. And we got bronze, and I still rock my bronze. I'm like, yo, that is
Rose gold.
my rose gold, okay? Because everyone knows Olympic Games, it is wild. It's wild, wild west out there. And then, with the third one, I was like, oh, we got to do it. I really want this. And, when we did win it in the end, I was like, all right, like that was probably the last thing that I was really chasing in my career. I had already gone to 2 World Cups. Like I said, I've been to Olympics before, but I was like, I didn't win it. And, and it was incredible for, Emma to have joined the team too, because it's almost like I felt like my life went back in time and fast forward at the same time. So it just was, it was a really, really special year. It had its challenges, but in the end I was like, wow, like it all worked out. This is really great.
One of the through lines of your career was versatility. I mean, you were constantly playing a different position. One thing for your professional side, and then on the national team, like completely opposite side of the field in the back line. And I know, having played with you and knowing you, that there was like complicated feelings around that. And on one side, it made you so valuable to any team that you were on, but it also was unfair to you because you never got to have just set time in one position. You were always kind of being put here, there, everywhere, and you did amazing in all those positions. Looking back, do you see your versatility as a superpower, or do you still wish that you could have been a dedicated attacking player or a dedicated outside back?
I think now that I no longer play soccer, I give myself way more grace, and I'm like, oh man, Crystal, like what you actually did was, really challenging and difficult, and it places you kind of in your own like separate category, which is really cool. But I think throughout my career, like I was such a wreck about it. Like I was anxious. I felt so unprepared. I feel like my love for soccer also was twisted in so many ways, because I was like, in one way I love the sport, but I was like, it's giving me so much anxiety because I don't feel ready almost, it's like to your point, Becky, you were like, in club environment, I'm getting my reps as an attacking player. I'm like, yes, I feel pretty dialed, pretty free. And then it's like, now you're called into the national team. You have to play at the highest stage with the most elite players. And then you're going to play a position also that you like weren't playing this whole month. And it scared the crap out of me. If I'm being honest, I was like, every game I went into, I was like, oh my, like, Crystal, don't mess it up. Don't mess it up. Cause you guys know, it's like, you're worried always about not being selected, not being chosen, not being informed, because you're like, oh man, like I've worked really hard to get here. Like I want to stay here. And I always felt like when I had to bounce back from position to position, I was like, is that a moment for someone else to like showcase who they are? And then I am not as valuable, And I look at it now as a superpower. Like I'm like, yes, Crystal, like that was really awesome of you to like kind of, navigate all of that. But no, in the thick of it, I was like an absolute wreck. I mean, like I was playing next to you and I was like, Becky, thank you for standing my behind. Thank you for, literally supporting me, because in my head, I was like, oh my goodness. But it was so awesome to play amongst like really incredible players like you guys, because I think with all the anxiety that I did have, I would have had 10 times as much if I really didn't feel as supported as I did. I mean, you guys always celebrated me for being versatile. And I think that really gave me more of a green light to step into that space and like kind of own it as much as I can. And that made all the difference for sure.
Oh, Crystal, oh my gosh, I love playing with you so much. I always think about our little subgroup at the World Cup of like you, me, and Pino, and we would just chat and talk and try to problem solve and just help each other and support each other. And I was so stressed, and thank God I had you guys. My gosh, like
we were all stressed with you, Sam.
I mean,
so
you guys hit it well. Crystal, you were such a great teammate. You were always so much fun, but you're responsible for, so many things off the field as well. The three of us were player reps for the U.S. Women's National Team Players Association together at the same time. Was it actually us three that signed the equal pay paperwork? Is that true?
It was.
Definitely. I have such a cool picture of us on the field. I think it was in DC too.
Yeah.
And we're just at that like long table, we're all just like signing it with these huge grins on our faces. Yes. We were so proud. I mean, obviously we should have been, but like, look at us.
What a long journey. What a long journey it was. Like, of course we were proud. I probably was like,
I know. Thank God it's over.
Signing on the dotted line with a big grin. I mean, guys, I'm just like so proud that like I got to serve alongside you guys. You guys really helped me kind of find my footing. I mean, I've always wanted to, lead on the teams that I've been a part of. And I think you guys really helped me kind of find my voice, find my footing. And and it was really, really incredible to kind of serve alongside you guys.
I totally agree. Crystal, is there anything you think from that journey, working towards equal pay, finding success with that you'll take with you? What about that do you still kind of think about and carry with you?
Oh man, so many things. But I think the biggest lesson learned is like, there is such power in numbers. And like, when you do stand unified as one, like you can go far, you can do damn near anything. And that's really what I got from that process was we are collectively not going to budge. We are standing our ground. We are, so connected in this journey. And that's the pride I've always felt representing the national team. Like, we've always been so much more than what we do on the field. It's like, yeah, we're chasing trophies. We want to win, but we want to do all those things by being good human beings, caring about others. And of course, that is what I'm totally going to carry into this next chapter of mine is, I said before, you're never going to really probably be in a locker room the same way you were. But I feel like whatever I step into next, like I want to kind of have that vibe of I'm in a locker room. Like I want to look around at my coworkers and be like, guys, like I have your back, you have mine. And there's that support in everything that we do.
I mean, you are such a leader off the field as well. I mean, you were one of the founding members of the Black Women's Player Collective. And I'm wondering, are you going to be doing more work with them now that you have a little bit more time on the schedule?
Yes. I mean, I totally plan to. I think that's the beauty of, retirement. You kind of get to have a bit of autonomy over your schedule, check in on people that you feel like you've haven't checked in on in a while, be a part of amazing projects that always seem to kind of be having things going on while you are playing footy. And there's nothing wrong with that. But now I do have this blank canvas to kind of create my schedule, add a little bit of work-life balance in there. But I look forward to really getting involved in, really cool projects that I've always wanted to do, but maybe didn't have the capacity to kind of compete and battle, and then also be like, all right, now I have a second to kind of dedicate my time to. So that is my plan.
Oh, so exciting. Is there anything specific that you can share with us yet about what may be part of your next chapter?
For me, what I will say is this. I am looking at multiple avenues. I don't see myself kind of putting all my eggs in one basket. I think there's multiple avenues, which is really cool now that players can kind of transition into. Obviously, Sam, podcast world, Becky, podcast world, a bit of broadcasting. Obviously, there's always coaching, there's managing. I think I see myself kind of floating in and around sports organizations, and I hope to kind of have some level of management role within, some sports organizations for sure, but definitely want to find the right one so that I can kind of learn and grow, as we are stepping into kind of almost like a new profession. It's kind of feeling weird. I'm like, am I a baby again?
Yes.
Am I like learning how to walk again?
That's what it feels like.
Oh, okay. It definitely feels like that. Okay. Glad I'm not, just imagining this. So, like I said, I think I'm having my conversations with, the right groups of people to kind of just allow myself to be as authentic as possible and kind of be like, hey guys, this is what I have to offer. Take it or leave it. I'd love to, be in and around a great work environment, obviously. So I'm doing my due process for sure.
Crystal, I'm really interested now that I have a son and getting to hang out with you when you were pregnant, and then also like raising Marcel and bringing him into the locker room and like all these fun things. Like, I feel like my
Yes.
life has changed, and I imagine having Marcel kind of changed your life as well. Did you like, did your relationship to soccer change when you had Marcel?
Yes. It did. It did because I realized that there's a whole world that exists outside of soccer, and that world is your child. And it's this very weird feeling because, for a long time, it's like, oh, everything has to be perfect. Your performance has to be perfect. Your prep and everything has to seem, absolutely perfect. And I think when you have a child, you almost are okay with the imperfections because you're like, oh, okay, as long as, my child's healthy, as long as he's happy, as long as, you know, he sees me as great, then really everything's gonna be okay. If you have an okay or off soccer game, these kids don't care. I remember one day I came home, there were some games in the NWSL that were like, midday games, so like around like 12 or 1 or something like that. And I was just like so tired after the game. I come home and I'm just like laid out on the couch. And Marcel's like, Mom, chase me around, come play with me. And I'm like, this kid has no idea that I just played in the game. He could care less what I just did. All he cares about is you being his mom and hanging out with him. And I think it's such a amazing perspective to have because I think it really keeps you grounded in what matters most. Now, of course, being an athlete and a mom, I was dedicated to the game, but I was also understanding that life happens and things are, top priority along with your career. And it's okay to, balance those both. And you don't have to like necessarily place one above. You don't have to say, oh, soccer is the only thing that matters. It's like, well, you're a mom. So making sure that they're taken care of is also actually top priority. So I would say I like love the game slightly different, but probably even a little bit more. Like I was a little bit more relaxed. I mean, you saw how I was with the mom. I was like, Marcel, where are you?
It was amazing.
He was like underneath tables. Yeah, I was like pretty chill as a mom. I loved having all these aunties to help take care of him, and I think that was the beauty of it too. I got so much closer to my teammates because so many people were willing to help, and I was like, "This is so great! Don't charge me a babysitting fee, guys. This is for free. Thank you." But it was so great. I enjoyed that part of it all.
You mentioned that you like would look forward to now getting to go to Marcel's soccer practices. Are there any other like small kind of things that you're also really looking forward to just being around more?
Oh man. Well, you guys know I'm a bit of a social butterfly, so I do enjoy my time with like my friends. I like to, you know, go hang out. I like to go to like cute rooftops. I like to go to brunch, and I look forward to basically like when I get an invite to go somewhere being like I can make it. Like, yes, sign me up. Like keep my spot open. I am there. And I think it's like those little things that I never noticed that I was kind of not being a part of. Like I have so many friends, obviously in the New York area, and now that I like have moved back there, I'm like I see these people way more than I have in the entire time that I've known them, and it's like so great. I just feel again like I have balance in my life, and it's like I get to kind of focus on what's next, but I'm like, oh, I get to like also be a really great friend and hang out with people and like do those things that I really didn't have time or the energy or the capacity to do.
I mean, I feel like that's such a full circle way to wrap this up. You mentioned at the beginning you got to travel with college friends you hadn't seen in forever. Now you're kind of reestablishing these friendships in New York where you're home. You're seeing your family more. I feel like, Crystal, you had such an incredible career. I feel so happy that you got to choose this and be totally at peace with it. I also have said this a couple times on this show without you here that you were kind of like you were always with me. Like when my first U15 youth national team camp at the Home Depot Center in California, like you were there. I remember warming up with you. I remember us both being from the East Coast. And I feel like we had this friendship over the years. We went to all our youth World Cups together. You were at every camp,
Yes.
every major tournament that I was ever at. And that consistency to me, like your presence always made me feel like I could be myself. And I think it's partly just how like loving and open and welcoming you are to everybody. But I think because you knew so many versions of me, like you knew awkward 14-year-old Sam when Christy was mean to me. You knew me coming into my own when I was with my own U20 team. Like, you saw me through so many different journeys and versions of myself, and you always like loved me through it all. And I just have always felt really connected to you and grateful that we got to be teammates for so long. And I just want to say that I love you and congratulations on such a great career.
Oh, Sam, you're my little big sister. That's what I always called you. I was like, you're younger than me, but like literally every time you hug me, I'm like hugging your like belly button. So like I was kind of like, all right, you're my little big sis. But that really means a lot. I mean, that's really what I think most about like in my career is just the connections I've had, the people I've met, the people that I now get to carry with me into this next stage. And that's one thing I will say I'm really happy I got to do along with my soccer career is really that connection with people. Like I hope that especially young ones coming up, they, yes, focus on your craft and developing and growing, but like connect with the people around you. Like there's some incredible people through this journey. Some people that will be at your weddings. They'll be with you throughout all the stages of your life post-career. So it's important to hold on tight to those people. So thank you.
I mean, you really are like such the glue to so many teams that I've got to play with you on. And I really think that's like your superpower. You're able to connect people on a deeper level off the field. And I think it translates onto the field to just a better, more cohesive team that has just like great vibes. And I remember you coming to Portland and I was just so excited and the pandemic hit, but we would order pizza and take it to a random park and sit like 10 feet away from each other. And you and Pierre and me and Zola would just like yap and just talk while these dogs are like running around.
Remember we went to that dog park?
Yes. The dogs are like peeing on our chairs.
There was a park we went to and I was like, yes. I was like, this is a dog park, but I'm having a great time right now. So, that was a time we had for sure. Like
and you hosted.
I mean, I loved it. I think I hosted,
you
guys,
hosted so many parties.
I should be an event planner or something. I love a good party. I love a good social outing. I love it. And I think that, is something I'm going to carry into this next stage of my career or my life, I should say, is I love connecting people. I love being connected to people. I think, again, like I value what everyone brings to the table. I try to always have that mindset as a player is, I don't care if you're a rookie or if you're a veteran player, like I'm going to hang out with you. I'm going to get to know you because I know if I know a little bit more about you, we're going to tap into some really great soccer on the field and we're going to help each other win trophies in the end. And that's really, the beauty of it all. So I appreciate both of you guys. You guys were such a key part of my journey, through different stages. You guys were there every step of the way. And I just appreciate you guys. And now we can see each other more.
The best part. Well, we love you so much, Crystal. Thank you so much for doing this. Everybody, Crystal may be leaving us, but Becky and I will be right back with more. So don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Good Vibes FC. Okay, let's quickly check in on some other women's soccer news, starting with the NWSL. I want to talk expansion teams, Reba. Some success stories in recent expansion team history are San Diego, who won the Shield in just their second season, and then Bay FC, who made playoffs in their first season. This year, joining the league, we've got Boston Legacy and Denver Summit. And the Coachella Valley Invitational Tournament, which was just this preseason tournament, that wrapped up this weekend. And we actually saw some really big results from the Denver Summit. They beat Utah 2-0, and they beat the San Diego Wave 5-2. So our Olipop gut check of the week is cheers, Reba.
Cheers.
Yum. Okay, our Olipop gut check of the week is, are the expansion teams going to crush it this season, or is the NWSL just too competitive to have real success in your first season?
I hope they crush it. I really do. I think that would be fun. I think Denver has made some like really good roster moves, and I think they're clearly getting things right off the field. Aren't they on track to beat the single game attendance record?
Yep, 45,000 tickets sold.
45,000 tickets sold. I mean,
I know.
That's pretty ridiculous. So they're going to have the off-field support, and I do think their roster is like pretty sneaky coming together, exciting. And I've heard less about Boston, and maybe you can, fill me in a little bit more. But I was checking out their roster, and they do have like some really strong players. And so I think it'll be interesting because we've talked about with no more draft, no more expansion draft, a lot of responsibility falls on these teams, general managers, on their scouting systems. And so it'll be interesting to see if those jobs are doing what they're supposed to be doing, if those jobs are jobbing.
Yeah, that is actually super interesting. I feel like it's I mean, look, I made the question up. I feel like it's a really tough question because it's like there is more than one way to have success. Though, if we were to ask, I think Denver and Boston's front office what success looks like, I think they would first and foremost say, we want to have success on the field. The first year is so hard. You know, it would be incredible for these teams to make playoffs with how competitive the NWSL is. It would be so incredible. I also am really hoping that they both do well. And I feel like what we've seen from both of them, especially with Denver's wins in the Coachella tournament, I'm like, wow, like you're off. Obviously, you're off to a great start. I know that those aren't real points in the league and could have been a million different things happening, but it's definitely a strong sign. I will, go into Boston's roster a little bit because I think that they have signed some really consistent NWSL players who have been super solid for their club teams. Casey Murphy, Ella Stevens, Bianca St. George. Plus, they have Amanda Gutierrez from the Brazilian national team who's on the short list for the Ballon d'Or. And so I'm just like, if the culture and the front office and everything comes together well, especially if you have the type of support and fandom like Denver is so clearly showing, I think that they could have really strong showings. But then I'm just like, would anybody ever entertain the prospect of expansion team winning the league?
Are you calling it now?
I mean, like, no, because I don't think I would entertain that prospect, but I just think it's such like a juicy question.
It is a juicy question. And I guess time will tell.
Because it's, even asking it, like, can you not just hear this Washington Spirit in Kansas City just like cracking their pencils? Like, what are you talking about? Like, it's a crazy question.
It is. It is a crazy question, but it is really exciting. And maybe we're entering an era of the NWSL where we can expect expansion sides to join the league and have it be a little bit more parity than before.
You're right, Becky. Time will tell. Okay, that was our Olipop gut check of the week brought to us by our good friends at Olipop. Let us know in the comments if you think the expansion teams are ready to crush it this season, and let us know who you're excited to watch. In other news, over in England, the FA Cup 5th round games took place this weekend. We saw Sam Kerr and Naomi Girma score goals for Chelsea to beat Manchester United. So heading on through to the quarterfinals on April 5th will be Chelsea, Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Charlton, Birmingham City, and Tottenham. And the Champions League quarterfinals are all set. Chelsea versus Arsenal, Wolfsburg versus Lyon, Real Madrid versus Barcelona, and Man United versus Bayern are all coming up about a month from now on March 24th. So I have that date circled on my calendar. Lots of exciting cup games coming up, Reba.
Yeah, those are some juicy lineups.
I know. Chelsea Arsenal already has me sweating.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just like, why?
All your friends are playing.
Okay, let's head over to the inbox. We got this beautiful email from Delphina that says, "Hi, Sam, Lynn, and Becky. I wanted to share some good news. My mom just had her final chemotherapy appointment. Her treatments were every 3 Tuesdays, which meant they lined up perfectly with new episodes of Good Vibes FC. During her 6-hour appointments, I would sit beside her and listen to the show while she drifted in and out of sleep. If I waited too long, she'd gently nudge me and say, 'Aren't you going to listen to your friends?' Over time, she started picking up on names, storylines, and little bits about the women's game through your conversations. What started as a quiet way to pass the time became part of our Tuesday ritual. Your show brought lightness, laughter, and something to look forward to during long days that could have felt heavy. I just wanted to say thank you. You were part of her journey, and that means more than I can explain. Still listening, still vibing, just with much lighter Tuesdays now. With so much gratitude, Delphina."
That is the best email I think we've ever gotten.
I know.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I feel so honored that our podcast could make your tough Tuesdays a little bit lighter. And I mean, my dad was diagnosed in 2016. And when I was visiting him at the hospital, this Luke Combs song would always be playing on the radio at the time called Going, Going, Gone. And it was just kind of talking about you need to appreciate beauty in this life while you can, because it's ephemeral, it's here and then it's gone. And so I just really love that we can make someone's Tuesday just a little bit a little bit easier.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that, Becky. That was really beautiful. And Delphina, I think sometimes, like anybody doing any job, you know, some days I'm just looking at my computer and I'm not recording with my best friend, or I'm not interacting with the listeners, and getting an email like this is such an incredible, like, pinpoint of connection that I think, you know, in times that we're in, everybody really, really needs. And so, like Becky said, it's such an honor to know that our voices were you know, part of what must have been a really difficult time, but that they brought you guys a little bit of lightness and a little bit of joy. And I mean, it sounds like your mom's going to become the biggest women's soccer fan ever, and we're so psyched to have her.
Yes.
We're sending her so much love, so much health, and just thank you so much for sharing this. It's like such an honor to know that, you know, we're all in this together, and we're really, really grateful to you and your mom for listening. Don't forget, everybody, you can all write us with questions, or you can just write us to let us know whatever you're feeling. Our email is womensgamemib@menandblazers.com. Write to us. Reba, I heard that you have a special good vibe today, so I'm going to rush right into it. What's your good vibe before we let our listeners go?
It's such like a little thing, but it's brought me so much happiness. And I just never got to do this while I was playing because you're just really not allowed to have it. But I got my ears pierced for the first time. And I know it's such like a silly, small thing, but it's something that I've really wanted for a very long time. And so I got my lobes and then my seconds in my lobes pierced.
Oh my God, you went all in. You doubled down.
I doubled down, and I wanted to get triples, but they're like, we're not going to do that many piercings on you in one sitting.
We can't put 6 holes in one day. That's crazy.
I was like, are you sure? So yeah, so I'm just like taking care of them and like putting my head down to sleep for the first time. I was like, ow. I was like, oh, ow. My ears hurt.
Oh my gosh, Becky, I am like so psyched for you. Wait, can you like show us?
I mean, sorry, I have so much hair, and my hair gets caught in it a lot too.
Oh my God, look at you.
Yeah.
Are they still sore?
No, they're getting much better. Thank you.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, this is crazy and work related, but my good vibe is that we are going live after all 3 of the U.S. Women's National Team games next week. And we have some really incredible co-hosts joining us. So I actually wanted to announce them because, well, they're all very special to me, but one is new. First, we're going to have Megan Klingenberg join us. Then we're going to have Lynn Biandola join us. And then we're going to have a new co-host, my good friend, Mary Speck from the North Carolina Courage, my good friend for a long time. She's going to make her TWG live reaction show debut, and I'm so excited about it.
Oh, that's going to be excellent. Is she doing the last game, the Columbia game?
She's doing the last game.
Oh, that could be, I mean, that's going to be a good matchup. So
I know it could determine the whole tournament.
I know.
And she's all booked.
Oh, love that. Okay, that's great. What a lineup.
I know, it's such a good lineup and it's such a good vibe that I just wanted to share and give everybody a little preview of what we're doing next week. So you should definitely make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel, and that way you won't miss anything. Okay, everybody, that is it for this week's episode of Good Vibes FC. Becky, before we let everybody go, while they're on our YouTube channel, making sure they're subscribed and turning on their notifications for all of these things that we have coming up, I just wanted to shout out your show, Teaming Up, because you have 9 episodes that live on our YouTube channel that you put out at the end of last year. Is there one of those in particular that you would like to send people to just in case they missed it?
Well, I mean, the easy answer is the one that we did together where I interviewed you, because obviously you're awesome. And that was a really cool one. But if I had to choose someone that's not you, I would say I interviewed Rebecca Lowe. And that was really fun. She's top of mind right now because she just got done covering the Winter Olympics and did an excellent job. And she's just super impressive what she does, her preparation. And it was cool to see a different side of her. She's like got banter and like loves to laugh and joke and tease and is just like a super positive presence. And so that'd be a good one to listen to. I mean, I may be a little biased, but I'd love if you listen to all of them.
Well, okay. I love that. Everybody go listen to all of them, and there could be more coming out soon. All right, everybody, that is it for today. So we will see you next time.
I'm Becky Sauerbrunn.
And I'm Sam Mewis. Love ya.
Bye.